You cannot change somebody else.
How dare you?
How much for his?
Enough!
But you can change yourself if you want to. We always start with you. If you want to develop excellent social skills or people skills, if you like, you have to have self-awareness. People are interesting. Most people are curious about why we do it the way we do it and how people are wired. Maybe the human brain is the most complicated organ on the planet. Men have a higher proclivity for violence than women have. Men are a little bit more task-oriented. Women are a little bit more relation-oriented. It's about when the frontal lobe closes. What that means cognitively is that now you can make decisions and understand the consequences. That happens at the age of 23, 24 when it comes to young men. It happens around 18, 19 when it comes to young women.
From what I understand, the unique basis of your theory is the idea that humans roughly, although people do fit into different types, can be divided into 4 different types, which you call the colors. Can you explain the different colors for us? What kind of personalities they entail? And why we're made this way and how these different colors interact. Just a very simple whistle-stop tour, if that's okay, of the basis of the theory.
Okay, you got me there. I could talk about this for hours, obviously. Well, it's not my theory. It's the old disc profile, just reinvented using 4 colors for a pedagogical reason. It's easy to remember red and yellow behavior instead of a high D over an I with a low C. Or an ENTJ personality. Sorry, INT, ITP, K, red and yellow. There you go. It's about extroversion versus introversion, task orientation versus people orientation. So you get a 2x2 matrix. So you get 4 basic fundamental behavioral types, let's say. And before anyone says, oh, there's got to be more than 4 types of people, of course there are. You can combine them in many, many ways, thousands of ways. And we all have the capacity for all the colors within us at the same time. However, we usually are more, we have a proclivity for using maybe 1 or maybe 2 colors that comes natural for us. Let's say that you are red and yellow as an example. That means that you're an extrovert. You like speed. You like fast-paced projects. You like action. You get the energy from outside. Doesn't mean you can't read Excel sheets or be friendly with people or be a good listener. We should be more of the blue and green type. But it comes natural for you to act in an extrovert way. And you asked why we are the way we are. That's a huge issue which is not described within any of these kind of profiles. Then you have to go back to different kinds of human science, I guess. It's the old question about nature versus nurture. Why did we become the way we are? Why are 2 twins so different personality-wise? Why is that? They have basically the same DNA, they have the same parents, they are born and raised at the same time, but they are not raised the same way because one of them came first. And he or she will be treated that way. This is usually subconsciously from the parents. They don't know this. They just treat people different, treat their siblings different. And your friends and your upbringing, the first years in school and your first job and so on, when you get this more fixed personality types, you change, I would say, your personality up until, well, mid-20s something, I would say. So, but I'm talking about behaviors here. The reason why you act the way you do, that's more connected to your drivers or your motivators. Why do you choose a certain behavior in a certain situation? Which is very interesting, of course, because, well, people are different. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, why did he do it exactly like that? I wouldn't have done it like that, And sometimes you feel you're surrounded by idiots.
Well, yeah, that's sort of the theme of your series, is surrounded by idiots, surrounded by vampires, surrounded by narcissists. So the idea sort of is, so far as I understand, that these different personality types mean that often we can come up and clash against each other. So one of the big themes in your book, or running themes, is how understanding these personality types and learning about them can help us to communicate each other. So could you maybe begin with some tips for communicating with different personality types and how we can broach, for example, an introvert to extrovert, or task orientation to people orientation? And what are the kind of practical steps we can begin to take once we understand the theory?
Excellent question, of course. Requires also quite a long answer because there's more than one question in there, isn't it? The thing is this: the biggest. Sometimes it's kind of almost a canyon between some people, and the biggest problem, the biggest challenge, let's say, is usually between introverts and extroverts because they are prone to certain kind of energies. Really, when you talk about task orientation versus which is the red and blue behavior types, or people orientation, which is the yellow and green behavioral types, it's easier to sort of connect these two. But when it comes to introversion versus extroversion, it is kind of tricky. Not saying it's impossible, and it's kind of a floating scale. We are all sort of ambiverts, I guess. We're usually not very extreme on one side or completely tilted to the other side, but we have a certain way that comes naturally. And if you are an introvert, you will struggle to understand the extroverts. Why are they talking all the time? Why can't that guy be quiet? Why does she have to be in the center of things all the time? She's not interesting, you know? Why can't they read a manual? I mean, an instruction manual, you have to read the manual, but the extroverts say, nah, let's try and error and see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? The only way to sort of overbridge these gaps between these types is probably to learn who you are yourself. I usually recommend self-awareness. If you want to develop excellent social skills or people skills, if you like, you have to have self-awareness. You need to know where you come from. If you meet a green person, should you lower your pace, or should you use a higher pace? Well, it depends on who you are. If you're blue, you need to speed up. But if you're red, you need to slow down. So it all depends on the starting point, actually. In any kind of program related to be an excellent communicator, we always start with you. You need to build your self-awareness. The interesting fact about self-awareness is it's kind of a rare thing, actually. It works like with, let's say, with humor. Everybody thinks they have it. You and I, we know. Some people don't have any humor, right? They just think they are funny, but they're not. Same thing with self-awareness. Some people just, they don't get it. There was an interesting study, a meta study made by an American psychiatrist, I think she is, or psychologist. Correct me if I'm wrong there, one or the other. Tasha Urish. She studied I think it was 3,000 studies on self-awareness and found out that 95% of the population consider themselves above average when it comes to self-awareness, which is kind of interesting. It's like asking guys, are you a good driver? We're all above average, aren't we?
Yep. Do you want to frolic freely at the beach, hairless both upstairs and downstairs? Tired of being left bloody, stumbling and alone because of a bad razor? Then you know what to do. Get yourself a Manscaped. With the new Beard and Balls bundle, you can stay fresh all over. Use the discount code LOW for 20% off now.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that clip from our interview with Thomas Erikson, the author of Surrounded by Idiots. If you'd like to check out the full interview, you can click right here. Please like and subscribe and drop a comment with your thoughts down below to keep supporting the channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.